Imagine a nation tearing itself apart, where neighbor turns against neighbor and entire families are forced to flee for their lives. Picture a land where children's laughter is drowned out by the sounds of gunfire and their dreams are overshadowed by the specter of starvation. This was the reality of the Biafran War, a brutal conflict that not only reshaped Nigeria, but also captured the world's attention with its haunting images of suffering. This is an honest explanation of the Nigerian Civil War, harrowing yet captivating story of the Biafran War, a tale of ambition, betrayal, and survival against all odds. A journey into the heart of a nation's darkest days and its struggle for a brighter future. Stay with us as we uncover the truth behind one of Africa's most devastating conflicts. Nigeria gained independence from Britain in 1960, but the young nation was far from unified. The country was a patchwork of diverse ethnic groups, the most significant being the Hausa-Fulani in the north, the Yoruba in the west, and the Igbo in the east. These groups had distinct cultures, languages, and histories, which made national unity challenging. The colonial boundaries drawn by the British did not reflect the complex ethnic and religious landscape of Nigeria, leading to tensions and competition among the various groups. The Hausa-Fulani, predominantly Muslim, had a hierarchical society deeply rooted in Islamic traditions. The Yoruba, who were largely Christian or practiced indigenous religions, had a more decentralized political structure, with powerful city-states like Lagos and Ibadan. The Igbo, also predominantly Christian, valued republicanism and were known for their entrepreneurial spirit and strong sense of community.
One thing I've noticed, Premier, while I've been here, is that Northerners seem to have, I might almost call it, obsession about the Igbos.
Well, the Igbos are more or less the type of people whose desire is mainly to dominate everybody.
Ethnic tensions and political instability. The post-independence period was marked by political power struggles and corruption. In 1966, a military coup led by predominantly Igbo officers overthrew the civilian government. This coup sparked violence, and a counter-coup by northern officers later that year resulted in the assassination of the Igbo leader, General Agwai Ironsi. The counter-coup intensified ethnic violence, with massacres of Igbos in the northern regions. Thousands of Igbos fled to their homeland in the east, heightening ethnic tensions and leading to widespread fear and distrust. The eastern region, under the leadership of Colonel Odumegwu Ojukwu, became a haven for the displaced, but the influx of refugees strained local resources and infrastructure. The psychological impact of the violence further deepened the resolve of the Easterners to seek autonomy and protection from the federal government, which they felt had failed to ensure their safety. The national mood was one of suspicion and anxiety, with each ethnic group retreating into its enclave, mistrustful of the others. The birth of Biafra. On May 30th, 1967, Lieutenant Colonel Odumegwu Ojukwu, the military governor of the eastern region, declared the independence of the Republic of Biafra. This secession was driven by the need to protect the Igbo people from further violence and to assert their right to self-determination. However, the Nigerian government, led by General Yakubu Gowon, refused to accept Biafra's independence, leading to war. The international community watched with concern as tensions escalated, with fears of regional instability and humanitarian crises growing. The stage was set for a brutal and protracted conflict that would have devastating consequences for the entire nation. The outbreak of war.
If civil war comes, it will for us be the price of freedom. I can't say for certain what Lagos has got. Our people here have for a long time been prepared for this eventuality, and I am confident of their readiness.
The war officially began on July 6, 1967, when Nigerian forces invaded Biafra. Initially, Biafran troops made significant advances, but the Nigerian army soon launched a counteroffensive. The war quickly became a protracted and bloody conflict. The Nigerian government implemented a blockade of Biafra, aiming to cut off supplies and weaken the secessionist forces. This blockade, combined with fierce fighting, led to severe humanitarian crises, including widespread famine and disease in Biafra. The war would drag on for nearly 3 years, leaving a lasting impact on the region and its people. Key battles and strategies. One of the war's pivotal battles was the Battle of Nsukka, where Nigerian forces captured the university town, dealing a blow to Biafran morale. The Nigerian strategy was to encircle and isolate Biafra, cutting off supply routes and weakening their resistance. The siege of Port Harcourt in 1968 was another crucial moment. The fall of this vital port city cut off Biafra's access to the sea, leading to severe shortages of food, medicine, and weapons. The Nigerian government also imposed a blockade, exacerbating the humanitarian crisis. The media coverage of Biafra's famine and suffering sparked global outrage and led to increased calls for humanitarian aid. Despite the international sympathy, political and strategic interests often influenced the level of support and intervention. The involvement of foreign powers varied, with some providing military assistance to Nigeria, while others attempted to broker peace negotiations.
The rebel leaders ought to know when enough is enough. It is sheer wickedness for Ojukwu and his clique to continue to goad innocent citizens to support rebellion and lay down their lives for a cause that is not just. Consequently, they do not know when to stop. I call on those who claim to love Nigeria and the Igbos to face realities and advise the people of the East Central State to lay down their arms and return to the fold. I honestly believe it is in the true interest of the Igbos that they return to the fatherland. I am satisfied that all other Nigerians have learned the lesson of our most recent history and the current civil war. And I pray to God that there will never be a repetition.
International involvement. The international community's response was mixed. While some countries supported Nigeria, others sympathized with Biafra, mainly due to the horrific images of starving children that emerged from the conflict. Aid organizations like the Red Cross and Médecins Sans Frontières played critical roles in providing humanitarian assistance. Humanitarian crisis. The Biafran War is infamous for the famine that resulted from the blockade. Millions of Biafrans faced starvation, and images of emaciated children shocked the world. The famine was not just a byproduct of the war, but also a deliberate tactic used by the Nigerian government to force Biafra into submission. By 1969, Biafra was on the brink of collapse. The final blow came in January 1970, when Nigerian forces captured the Biafran capital, Owerri. Ojukwu fled into exile, and Biafra surrendered unconditionally on January 15, 1970.
The so-called rising sun of Biafra is set forever. It will be a great disservice for anyone to continue to use the word Biafra to refer to any part of the East Central State of Nigeria. The tragic chapter of violence is just ended. We are at the dawn of national reconciliation. Once again, we have an opportunity to build a new nation.
Aftermath and legacy. The war resulted in an estimated 1 to 3 million deaths, mostly from starvation and disease. The Nigerian government adopted a policy of no victor, no vanquished, focusing on reconciliation and reintegration of Biafran territories. However, the scars of the war linger, with ongoing ethnic tensions and mistrust. The Biafran War was a tragic chapter in Nigeria's history, marked by immense suffering and loss. It highlighted the challenges of building a unified nation from diverse ethnic groups and the devastating consequences of political instability and ethnic conflict. Despite the horrors of the war, it also showcased the resilience and spirit of the Nigerian people in their pursuit of peace and unity.